Hello students, in today's class, let's discuss about the superclass Tetrapoda. In the previous class, I hope you all remember, we discussed about another superclass, that is superclass Pisces. Under that, we discussed two classes, that is Osteichthyes and Chondrichthyes. Isn't it? Right. Now in today's class, let's discuss about superclass Tetrapoda. Tetra means four. Poda means podos means foot or leg. So this classes, that is superclass Tetrapoda, all the organisms which come under this class, they have four limbs or four legs for movement. Now under this superclass, how many classes are there? Hope you remember how many classes are there. Four classes. Which are the four classes? Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves and Mammalia. Isn't it? Okay. So in today's class, let's discuss about the first two classes, that is class Amphibia and class Reptilia. I'm sure that you have learned about these two classes from your lower classes and you know almost all the characteristics. But let's discuss some of the characters of both these classes. Okay. So let's see class Amphibia. These organisms which come under this class, they have the ability to live both in water and on land or terrestrial habitats. So they can live in water and they can also live on terrestrial, live in terrestrial habitats. That means they can live on land. Now, when you say that, what exactly does it mean? It means that the organisms which come under this class, that is amphibians, they need both water as well as the terrestrial habitat in order to complete their life cycle. They can complete their life cycle. In order to complete their life cycle, they need both water as well as land. So, when we say amphibians, which organism comes to your mind? Right, frog, isn't it? Right. Now, frog can live in water. You must have seen frogs in water. At the same time, you must have seen them on land also. So, you know that frog lays egg in water. For fertilization, the adult frogs, that is the male frog and the female frog, they move to water. And in water, the female frog lays the eggs and the male frog, it releases its sperms and fertilization takes place in water. And the eggs hatches out and the larvae comes out. What is the larvae of frog called as? Tadpole, isn't it? And tadpole can live only in water. It cannot live on land. So that is the reason why I said the amphibians, they need both water and land for completing its life cycle. The adult frog cannot lay egg on land. It needs water. That is why it goes to water. So only if there is water can they reproduce. Hope it's clear. So that's the first characteristic feature of amphibians. What is that? They can live both in water and on land. Second important point about the body. The body is divisible into head and trunk. You know, right? So here we have the picture of a frog. So they have a head region and the remaining part is a trunk. And they have two pairs of limbs, forelimbs and hind limbs. Isn't it? Okay. Now, there is no neck. That is why the body is normally, in the case of human beings, you know, we have a head, a neck and a trunk, isn't it? But in the case of amphibians, it is only a head and a trunk. Neck is absent. Another important feature. What about the skin? Skin is moist without scales. That's the reason why when you try to catch hold of a frog, what happens? It slips from your hand. Why does it slip? Because it has a moist skin because of the presence of mucus. So on their body, they have mucus on the skin. That is why it is slippery. It slips from your hand. When you try to catch a frog, it slips from your hand. So skin is moist without scales. Eyes have eyelids. You must have seen when you look at a frog, the first what you see is the two bulged eyes, and the eyes will be always closing and opening, right? They have eyelids. Eyes have eyelids. Then ear is represented by tympanum. Tympanum is nothing but a membranous fold of skin found just behind the eyes. So here you can see these are the eyes, right? And just behind that, can you see here? Look at the cursor here. So here you can see a small membranous fold of skin. This membranous fold of skin is called as tympanum and it represents the ear. Now, another important feature which is found in class Amphibia is that the alimentary canal, the reproductive tract and the urinary tract, that is the digestive tract, the urinary tract and the reproductive tract, all these three have a common opening, and that common chamber, all these three tracts open into a common chamber, and that common chamber is called as the cloaca. This word you have to remember. Cloaca is a unique feature found in amphibians. What is that? The digestive tract or the alimentary canal, the reproductive tract and the urinary tract. All these three tracts open into a common chamber, and that chamber is called as cloaca. And it is a cloaca which opens to the exterior. So we'll be studying about this in detail when we discuss about frog. Okay. Now, the next point, respiration. How do they respire? They respire with the help of gills. Right, the tadpole, the larval stage of the amphibians, they need water, and when they are in water, they need gills to breathe the dissolved oxygen. So the respiration is by gills. When they are on land, they use their lungs for respiration, and they have another habit of hiding during extreme climatic conditions, that is during summer, extreme summer, as well as during extreme winter. They cannot tolerate the body temperature, so what they do is they go into burrows and hide themselves, and during that time they use their moist skin for respiration. That is the reason why respiratory organs may be either gills or lungs or the moist skin. Hope it's clear, right? Then heart is three-chambered. In the case of Pisces, we have seen that heart is two-chambered, and amphibians have a three-chambered heart, two auricles and a ventricle. Then they are cold-blooded animals, means they cannot regulate their body temperature. Their body temperature keeps on changing. Such animals are called as poikilothermic. Right? The next, that is this point is a explanation of this point. They lack the ability to regulate body temperature. Next, sexes are separate. You know that males and females are separate. Fertilization is external. As I've told you in the beginning itself, the female frog and the male frog, they move towards water. Amphibians, they move into water to lay the eggs. So female lays the eggs and the male, it releases the sperms. Fertilization takes place in water, and development is indirect, means larval stages are formed. So these are some of the features or characteristics of class Amphibia. Hope it's clear. So in order to remember the characteristics of class Amphibia, what you have to do is bring to your mind the picture of a frog. So when you think about frog, just try to recollect the points. Okay. So the first point, frog can live both in land and in water. Second point, they have the body is divided into head and the trunk. Then the body is having moist skin without scales. Alright. Then they have bulged eyes with eyelids. Right. The tympanum represents the ears. Right. Then the reproductive, alimentary and the urinary tract open into a common chamber which is called as a cloaca. Then respiration is either by gills or by lungs or by moist skin. Heart is three-chambered, important. Then they are cold-blooded animals. That means they lack the ability to regulate body temperature. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is external. Development is indirect. Hope it's clear. Now here are some examples. Common example is Bufo, that is toad, big frogs. Rana, frog. Hyla, tree frog. Salamandra, salamander. Ichthyophis. This name you have to remember because it is the only limbless amphibian. Amphibian which does not have limbs, right? So that is Ichthyophis. Ichthyophis. Okay. Here you have the picture of all that. A frog, a salamander. This is Ichthyophis, right? It does not have limbs. It looks like a reptile, but it's not a reptile, but it's an amphibian. Then this is tree frog. Hope class Amphibia is clear to you all. Okay. Now let's discuss about class Reptilia. Reptiles. All the reptiles come under this class. Now, when I say reptiles, what comes to your mind immediately? Snakes, crocodiles, then lizards, chameleon, all these come under reptiles. Okay, now, what are the features of reptiles? This class got its name because of the creeping or crawling mode of locomotion. You must have seen snakes. How do they move? They move on their belly, right? How do the lizards move? They also move on their belly, but a little higher. Means they move on their limbs, right? So that is limbs in the sense it's a kind of crawling. Right. So because of their creeping and crawling nature, this reptiles got its name as reptilia. Hope it's clear? Right. The body is covered by, their body is not moist, body is dry, and it has a cornified skin, means it is very rough, the skin will be very rough, and it will be having some will be having epidermal scales, or they may be having thick scales called as scutes. As in the case of crocodiles, you must have seen the skin is very dry and it is having scales, thick scales, which are called as scutes. Okay, then ear is represented by the tympanum. Heart is three-chambered, as in the case of class amphibia. Here also heart is three-chambered, but there is one exception. Crocodiles have a four-chambered heart. Okay, so that's only one exception. And these animals, that is reptiles, are also cold-blooded animals, means they cannot regulate their body temperature. Some reptiles, like snakes and lizards, what they do is they shed their scales as a skin cast. You must have seen, if you have if you have been to some remote areas, in sometimes in villages or forest where snakes are found, you will find the cast of that body. You will find a covering like it looks like a snake, but it will be only a covering. That is called a skin cast. So this is a peculiar feature found in reptiles. Not all, some. Then fertilization here is internal. It's not external fertilization. Fertilization is internal. But even though fertilization is internal, they lay their eggs and the young ones hatch out from the eggs. And the young ones which come out from the eggs will be exactly the same as that of the parent. And hence, the development is considered as direct. It is direct development, not indirect development. Hope it's clear? So fertilization is internal, but they are oviparous, they are egg laying, and the development is direct. Hope it's clear. So that's all about the characteristic features of reptiles. And remember some of the examples, that is chameleon, crocodilus, calotes, chelone, etc. Okay, and here you have the then some of the names of some poisonous snakes also you try to remember. You know that if you can't remember scientific name, at least common names like cobra, viper, crate, etc. Okay, so try to remember these names. And these are the pictures of some of these reptiles. I hope you know all these what are these reptiles, right? Now, so hope you understood what we discussed today. So today we discussed superclass Tetrapoda. Under that we discussed two classes. One is class Amphibia and one is class Reptilia. Try to remember the unique features, right? Class Amphibia means immediately it should come to your mind. They can live both in water as well as on land. Then another point that you have to remember is cloaca. It's a common feature. Then you have to, skin is moist, right, without the scales. Then ear is represented by tympanum. Eyes have eyelids, right? And then coming to the respiration part, the respiration is by gills or lungs or moist skin. Then heart is three-chambered. That is another important point that you have to remember. Okay, class Amphibia, heart is three-chambered, two auricles and one ventricle. They are cold-blooded, means they cannot regulate their body temperature. So that is why they have to go into hiding during extreme weather conditions like summer as well as winter. Then when coming to reptiles, the features, unique features, means they have dry skin, dry cornified skin with epidermal scales or scutes. So in the case of snakes, you can see these are the scales, right? And it is rough. It is not at all smooth. It's rough and dry in nature, right? And they got their name because of their creeping and crawling nature. Okay, and then you have to remember here also they do not have external pinna, they have tympanum. Tympanum represent the ears. Okay, then coming to the next feature of reptiles, that is right? They have a three-chambered heart. They are cold-blooded animals, and the peculiar feature is skin cast. Snakes and lizards, some reptiles shed their skin as skin cast. Okay, then fertilization is internal, oviparous, and development is direct. So one of the difference between reptiles and amphibians regarding fertilization is their fertilization is external, here fertilization is internal. Both are oviparous. They also lay eggs, here also they lay eggs. But their eggs hatches into larvae, that is indirect development, whereas here the eggs hatches into the adult organism, the young one, which is similar to that of the parent, and hence development is direct. There is no larval stage. Okay, so that is all about class Reptilia, and I hope you remember all that examples what we have discussed. Okay, so try to remember some examples and the characteristic features of both the classes. That's all for today.